Let's give you some politics now. EFF leader Julius Malema hitting out at his former deputy, including some senior members who've now joined the MK party. Malema telling delegates at a meeting in Benoni this afternoon that his former deputy, Floyd Shivambu, is to blame for the Red Berets' decline in support in KwaZulu-Natal. Junior Kumalo following these developments for us, and he joins us in studio this afternoon. Junior, good afternoon to you. So some very strong words by Julius Malema toward his former deputy. Did he mention him by name, by the way, and what did he have to say about it?
Indeed, at some point he did mention him by name, but in the beginning of his speech he kept saying an individual. But later on he did mention him by name, saying that he was basically to be blamed, especially for the EFF's performance when it comes to KwaZulu-Natal. We know that it dropped from about 10% to 2% when it comes to these past provincial elections that happened in May. There is a point where Shivambu was actually recalled by the EFF to go and actually be deployed in the Eastern Cape. Julius Malema touched on that, saying that at the time we had indicated that it was just a redeployment of the former deputy president. But we were aware at the time that things were not going well in KwaZulu-Natal. He says that this is part of the reason why they had to take their secretary, Marshal Dlamini, to KZN to actually try and see that he can basically revive the support for the EFF in KwaZulu-Natal.
And also, in a way, to almost shield him from embarrassment, because I think that was part of his language, that this was all crafted in order to protect the image of the deputy, Floyd Shivambu.
Indeed. And he says that after doing all of that, protecting his image, this is the same person that is coming out now and calling us gangsters. That's what he ended up saying about Floyd Shivambu, saying that these are the people that we actually trusted with our lives. He was like a brother. I brought him into my family, and these are the very people that could have killed us. Those are some of the words that he was using. And he even described Floyd Shivambu's timing when it comes to leaving the EFF as a possible assassination of the EFF, saying he left when the EFF was very vulnerable, and his leaving also took a lot of members from the EFF who have since also joined the MK party. But let's take a listen to Julius Malema and what he had to say about Floyd Shivambu.
By saying that the person who was deployed to KZN for election was divorced from reality in KZN. It may even be true and more worrying that he was aware of the damage to come in KZN and kept quiet because he had already chosen to betray this movement.
Very tough and hard-hitting comments there. Then the former president, Jacob Zuma, also did not survive these harsh comments. He was also mentioned here. And by the way, just as a reminder to the viewers, this is someone whom Mr. Malema took a flight to KZN, Gandla to be specific, in order to have tea with him. The assumption would be to drink from the well of wisdom.
Yes.
What since happened?
Indeed, today he did call the former president, the 82-year-old former president Jacob Zuma, corrupt, saying that he cannot basically bring together black people, because we know that Umkhonto weSizwe has been trying to bring together all the smaller parties, saying that they can basically bring unity into these parties so that they can challenge the ANC. That's what he has been pushing for. Even Malema himself at some point did confess that there were these talks that happened between his party, Zuma, Holomisa as well, some of the other leaders, and there was a discussion of trying to form one party when Zuma then basically went and formed the MK party. So today he did not Malema did not mince his words when he was speaking about former President Jacob Zuma. But we know that Malema has never said that Zuma is not corrupt. The only thing that he has challenged the state capture processes, but he has never argued that Zuma is not corrupt. So today he was re-emphasizing that this former president is actually corrupt.
So here's the interesting element, Junior, because when you talk about state capture elements, I had a conversation just this past week with Floyd Shivambu, whose words are, we were quote-unquote misled.
Indeed.
Did Julius touch on that today, and what did he say about those exact comments by Floyd Shivambu?
He said that there was no one was misled when it comes to former President Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma is indeed corrupt, according to Malema. And he said that the former president is 82 years old right now, and he has failed basically to bring unity to black people, as he is now suggesting. So how can he then do it now at this later stage when it comes to his political career? But let's take a listen to what Julius Malema had to say about the former president.
The EFF is the only organization that said we are going to fight for the total liberation of black people in South Africa. And therefore, the time has come for all of us to be brave. That there is no old man who's going to unite black people in South Africa. Only the EFF can unite black people in South Africa.
Those exact words, Junior, we might be accused of manufacturing this, but he did use the words corrupt.
Indeed.
When he referred to
Indeed, he did use the word corrupt.
Zuma. We'll probably have that a little later in your story. But there are those watching who are going to say, it's sour grapes. It's obvious. This is sour grapes. Julius Malema, still angry, still cut up about how Floyd Shivambu left the party. Former president, Jacob Zuma, in all probability, again, possibly sour grapes there too, because he has since inherited someone who was his right-hand man in the EFF. Members of the public, your sense in how they are possibly digesting this?
Indeed, even today, Xoli, when this address by Malema comes at a time when there are reports that one of the other founding members, which is Alfred Mutsai, who was in the Northwest, he was the convener of the EFF in the Northwest when it started, has also jumped ship, and he is now joining the MK party.
This is someone who, by the way, was the EFF's premier candidate in the Northwest province. So this is no small fry.
Indeed. So there's quite a lot of people that have jumped ship and they continue to do so. So that is part of the message that Malema was trying to basically reiterate, that let's guard against that happening, especially now going to our elective conference, because we know that there are people who are not going to be happy. They might not land those positions that they're actually looking to land. If they don't land them, then don't jump ship and go join the MK party. Let's try and rebuild. I think that was what he was trying to address when it comes to the public.